Welcome to SF Commercial Property Conversations with Bruce Bean, where Bay Area investments meet expert insights. Get ready to unlock the strategies of commercial real estate success.
So today we have Jonathan Kathrein with us. And Jonathan, it's great to have you. You kind of grew up in the Bay Area. You did a variety of things, and then you went into real estate law of all things. So give us a little history of how you got to real estate law.
Well, first, thanks for having me, Bruce. I'm happy to be here. I was an undergraduate at Cal and sort of looking for my path forward when a friend suggested that I take the real estate classes. And I had decided I was going to major in American Studies, an interdisciplinary major that was mixing business and political science. And then I fell in love with real estate, taking the Haas undergraduate courses, and was about to go into brokerage right out of undergrad when I had the opportunity to join a friend's father in starting a nonprofit. So I went with him and traveled the world. And of course, being in the Bay Area, had a focus in the Bay Area, working with at-risk youth in a program called Future Leaders for Peace.
Oh, wow.
And I did that until the Great Recession hit, and then needed to pivot and realized I could teach public speaking, and worked for a wonderful program called Decker Communications, teaching public speaking to business executives around the country and then even around the world. And as I began to have kids, the travel became less appealing, and I hunkered down closer to home and was working in government relations, which I was working for really a wonderful gentleman who taught me how to deal with things like land use, real estate transactions, politics, business. And he said, you know, if you want a little bit more stimulation, you should go back to law school. And so I did that at night while I worked with him during the day.
Wow.
I had 2 kids at home and knew I loved real estate from those undergrad years. And so as I went through law school, I gravitated towards real estate. I'm not a litigator, I'm a transactional attorney. And I came out of law school and I began working in real estate transactions and land use. And that's where I am today.
So give us a little clue of kind of what the market is looking like these days in terms of transactional real estate.
Well, it's a hot market for anybody who has been in San Francisco, maybe disappeared during COVID and is now back. It's an incredible transition. I think the bus system is still lagging a little bit. It's a little bit harder to get downtown on public transit than it was in 2019, but downtown San Francisco is bustling again, and folks are back in the city, and office and retail is filling up. The thing that I think is most notable today, though, particularly in the Bay Area, is the short duration of the leases. It's a hot market, but the leases are 3 and 4 years and not 10, 20 years. They're not nearly the length that they used to be. So, where that's headed, it's a little bit hard to tell because we're not too far into the 3 or 4 years yet. But we'll start to see over the next couple of years whether the pace keeps up or if it slows, and whether we end up with a bunch of vacancies in 3 or 4 years on our hands.
So are you doing a bunch of subleases these days?
They're mostly primary leases, a few subleases for folks who decided to move out of the city and then are now finally, maybe have been sitting on the lease for a few years and are now finally able to sublease because there's enough of a hot market for it. But I'd say largely vacant spaces that are being filled.
You got any clue what the vacancy looks like these days?
The percent, as I keep hearing, is improving. It's still not, it's not where it needs to be. I can't say off the top of my head what the percent is, but it's flattened, and we're filling in vacant spaces, but then there's less product coming online and less construction in the pipeline. So that's helping, drive down those vacancy numbers a bit as well.
Well, the good news is that you're busy, right? Because
we're busy.
Yeah, if the market was kind of dying as it was a few years ago, I suspect you weren't quite as busy at that time.
Yeah, the nature sort of the business is there's a little bit of a hedge built into my profession in the sense that we have a geographic, I have a broad geographic scope. I was at Restoration Hardware, RH, for a few years, and really I got experience dealing with leases nationwide and even internationally. I don't do the international ones anymore, but really nationwide transactions. And so the geographic scope helps. And then different product types, right? So there's the retail, and warehouses have been hot, whether you're in AI and data centers or not. Warehouses with things like Amazon have been hot for the last few years. So I've done a lot of work in big warehouse leases. Some of them built from the ground up, just massive spaces. But more and more, the vacuum, the gravitational pull is being pulled more into San Francisco just because the market is so hot. So it's a little bit of a hedge built in, and we keep busy by being spread out, in the work that we do.
It sounds like you're dealing with clientele that's all over the US.
Yeah. Yeah. And even international tenants coming in that want to set up a space in San Francisco, whether it's retail, that's just sort of a marquee retail or office, because the AI boom is sort of demanding that you have some sort of office presence if you're in tech. And of course, the Super Bowl didn't hurt either. As much as we know that the 49ers stadium is not in San Francisco, there were a lot of activities in San Francisco, and San Francisco was just going mad, in a good way. That week, right. The week before, the ecosystem around the Super Bowl. So it brought people in to see the real estate, really.
Well, it looks like from your background, you're right downtown somewhere.
I am downtown. That's right. We're at One Embarcadero. So we're right by the Ferry Building. It's a beautiful spot here. And
how many people work in your firm?
I wish I could tell you. We're a nationwide business focused. I'm at Nixon Peabody. Nationwide business-focused firm. We have offices across the country, 2 floors in One Embarcadero. I haven't counted the heads. I should.
Yeah, but you're big. It sounds like, Peabody is a big firm.
We're big, and I think the beauty of it, and part of what drew me here is that while I do the real estate, we have corporate, we have IP, we have litigators, employment. So the business focus helps us help service clients that are in any variety of business. And so we get a lot of work, where we're working, I might be working on a real estate lease. Somebody else is working on a corporate transaction, and somebody else is doing the intellectual property.
So I'm curious, are you seeing a lot of AI leases these days?
AI, and I would say the ecosystem. So AI and things related to AI.
Yeah. And I'm curious, in terms of your legal practice, are you using AI in your process?
We do use it. We have access to a program that keeps the client confidentiality. We're not just plugging it into ChatGPT. Right. It's really highly strict confidentiality requirements. And we do use it, and it has an interesting effect, because effectively it makes me work faster.
It makes you work faster. So, are you actually working more hours because of AI?
I don't think it's changed my hours.
Oh, okay.
Because what it does is it creates almost like a vacuum where I'm available to work on more things.
I see. Okay.
Because it can do some spot checking. We don't use it for the, as much of like the market data and the sort of the intellectual processes we do for, proofreading documents, maybe compiling summaries that are otherwise sort of quite manual, but relatively straightforward. We're still double checking everything it does. But it allows me to speed up my process, because I don't get stuck on, say, renumbering a document.
Right.
Section numbers in a lease. It can speed through that. I'll check and make sure it didn't mess that up, for example, or cross-reference definitions. it can check and make sure I haven't missed something, where otherwise it might take me 20 or 30 minutes to go through and just make sure I've got
No,
everything.
it is an incredible editing tool, I must admit. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if you've used it to actually change or compose emails or do anything like that, but it has amazing features that way.
It's funny on the email front. Somebody said I heard the founder of Perplexity speaking at one of the Super Bowl events, and he said the majority of social media posts are now AI generated, and I think sometimes emails too. But what I feel is that you can identify them,
Right, right.
and so you still want to keep your voice, right? You don't want just some cold AI generated post or email going out.
No, that's
But
a very
it
good
can
point.
proofread.
It makes the email so sanitary that it's so obvious that AI, edited it. There's like no typos. There's no, the use of words is sort of sanitized, and sometimes it's good. Sometimes it's a little too clear or too obvious that AI has put this together.
Yeah, it loses its character a little bit.
That's exactly right. It loses your voice, it loses your character, and so it for some situations it might be great, but yeah, I find you have to go through and kind of take out a few words here and there to kind of become more of your own voice.
Yeah, and it's wrong. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, I when I try, using it for different things, I catch mistakes
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, you mean you catch mistakes
that it's made.
in your document or in the AI document?
No, if you ask it something, it's not right 100% of the time.
Oh.
It's funny. I was having a conversation with I'm coaching T-ball for my son.
Okay.
One of the other coaches is a plumber, doing high-end homes. And he said, people ask him questions that they've looked up on AI all the time. And sometimes it's right, but sometimes it's not. He knows when it is. Same thing with me.
Yeah, right.
I've seen enough things. I know when it's gone astray. But again, I think it's an efficiency. It's an amazing efficiency tool.
Yeah.
Doing odd tasks that you might not have been able to do as quickly before.
Absolutely. No, there's some certain things that it does amazingly well. And well, I've heard, of course, and I'm sure you've heard this, that AI occasionally comes back with case studies where the case doesn't even,
Right.
and you're like, wait.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, it's wrong. Hey, we double check everything. I mean, the tools we use, they cite, right? So it's either citing a case or a statute, and then you read the case. What it's doing is it's helping me find the case or the statute a little bit more quickly.
Yeah.
I know there's a statute that an arbitration provision needs to be initialed. Can't remember the statute number. Google maybe pulls up too many.
Yeah.
It'll find it, and then I read it and make sure that's the right statute.
Yeah. So everything needs to kind of be double checked, so to speak. But
Definitely.
it speed things up in an amazing way. So okay, so here we are. We're in the well, it's not a bubble, but we're in this kind of uptick in San Francisco. So what's your crystal ball sort of thinking these days?
I mean, it's hard to have a crystal ball at this point in the cycle. I think we're still so early, but I would say, folks shouldn't be sitting on their, laurels, just getting too comfortable with the boom. And it needs to continue. And it really has to do with, the tech companies, AI or peripheral type companies. Are they getting another round of funding in the future? Because they're 3 years, they're either going to be out of business or they're going to be bigger. Are they going to get another round and take on an office floor instead of a portion of a floor? Or are they going to vacate that space in 3 years?
So do you work on sales also?
I do. Yeah, I do purchase and sale.
Yeah.
And I've not been doing too much of that in San Francisco, but elsewhere, and leasing. And I do both sides. Buyer, seller, landlord, tenant. I like the tenant side. I think it's exciting. I think you kind of get a little bit broader view of the market.
Right.
But yes.
Well, that's an interesting question. How flexible are landlords getting these days? If you're on the tenant side and you want to, the landlord lease is usually pretty onerous. So, can you get them to bow a little bit?
There seems to be this urgency to get deals done, both on the landlord and the tenant side. I think it probably relates to people not knowing where the market is headed. It's not so much that it's a competitive market, but it's an urgent market.
Oh, interesting.
Not as in there's 3 or 4 folks trying to get the same space. It's this landlord has a space that's been maybe sitting vacant for a little longer than they wanted, and the tenant who also knows that there's a bunch of other companies who are about to get funding and maybe get their first, good office space, and they want to jump into a deal quickly. And it's not necessarily making folks cave on terms.
Right.
But there's an urgency to get it done.
On the landlord side, it sounds like, they don't have to bend too much because the market's pretty hot right now. And on the tenant side, they're saying, let's just get it in before somebody else.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. There's not somebody else pounding on the door now, but next week there might be.
Exactly.
So let's get this done quickly.
Well, I've got a case in San Mateo where exactly that is happening, where 2 tenants are basically vying for the same space, and they're both kind of playing games about it. But anyway, it's wild.
Yeah.
So crazy world.
All right. I'd say similar with purchase and sale. I mean, not just in San Francisco, but folks are kind of eager to get the deal done. There's a kind of enough unknown in the market with things like interest rates, vacancy, just enough unknown that folks, I think if they want to get the deal done, the sense right now is to get it done quickly.
Well, and that's actually a question I had for you. Are you seeing several sales happening just because they got the really good low interest loan, and now all of a sudden they're like, oh wait, we can't pay for that now, so we need to bail out?
I'm not seeing folks bail, no.
Well, that's good. Yeah.
But they're seemingly coming into money and wanting to buy without hesitation. Without hesitation. If they've identified the right thing. I think a lot of buyers, for example, have been looking for the right property, and now suddenly they've got the funding. Either the interest rate's gotten low enough, or they've raised money, or the stock market has picked up enough that they can pull the trigger.
Right.
It's been hot. It's been active.
Wow.
Very much on a transactional front.
Is that in San Francisco or in the U.S. in general?
I think with interest rates coming down, I think in the U.S. in general, but San Francisco is hotter than it's been, in years. And if you just look at foot traffic, and I saw a study about, badge swipes in downtown San Francisco, people getting into their buildings, just how high that is. San Francisco looks nothing like it did in 2021, and it looks nothing like it did a year ago. There's people downtown again, and it's busy.
Are you have any opinion about the new mayor?
Oh, I mean, he's either miraculously walked into the city fixing itself, or he's done an incredible job. And I just, just really straightforward. He's making it easier to do business in San Francisco.
Yeah.
He's, it's hard to see the problems we have in San Francisco in terms of, some of the folks on the street. And I wish the best for everybody who's going through those, but it does not help to have that in downtown. And it has gotten a lot cleaner, a lot safer.
Yeah.
Bringing events into the city. There's sort of a sales side to lawyering in terms of getting out and meeting people, and almost every event I go to, the mayor is at. I mean, it's stunning, from Super Bowl events to real estate events to anything. He's there. He's everywhere. everywhere. I mean, I literally every event I think I've been to, he's been either speaking at, or he comes in and checks it out for a little bit and then leaves. So he's, as I say, he's either doing something right, or he just walked into the perfect storm of the city kind of taking off.
Well, I think a little bit of both probably. So
Yeah.
I mean, the market's coming back, the city's coming back, and he's certainly trying to help that in all ways that he can.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, absolutely.
a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it really is.
That's a wrap on today's journey through the SF commercial real estate scene. Ready to share your story? Visit sfcommercialconversations.com/guest. Your insights could lead the next conversation.